Okay, come out and support Meet and Greet Team Cooper. This is a meet and greet. This is going to take place Thursday, and this is for all the folks out in Santee. This is going to take place at 3290 Mount Zion Avenue in North Santee. And this is going to be Thursday, May 16th, 2024, from 6 to 8 p.m. Team Team Cooper, Ernie L. Cooper Sr. for County Council. Sponsored by the Cooper campaign. Come on out, get yourself some good fish, get to know Mr. Cooper. And there's also going to be a meet and greet in another part of District 3. And that is right here. Team Cooper, again, meet and greet. Fish fry Friday, May 17th. This is the very next day. And this is going to be from 6 to 8 p.m. And this is to the folks out in South Island Road area. So please, if you know anybody out there, tag them, share this to them so they can get out and get the information that they need so they can make the proper choice come June 11th when the primary, it's going to open up the 28th of May, I think. I'm not sure. I'll get the clarification on that exact date when early voting begins. But again, Team Cooper, meet and greet, fish fry, Friday, May 17th. From 6 to 8, 2221 South Island Road, Georgetown, South Carolina. And that's the South Island Maryville community. Make sure, again, if you would share that information with somebody so that, again, folks can get out and meet the candidate, ask the questions that they need to ask, and, again, get the information out that they need to get out. There he is right there, Ernie L. Cooper, District 3. Couple other things. Public Works weather schedule change. Okay, and this was effective back in since Monday, May 6th. So, Public Works Department, because of the rising temperatures and that kind of thing, is going to change the schedule up a little bit. Couple more things I want to get to. All right, I'm gonna put this up. There's going to be a men's accountability rally June 15th in Andrews. It won't be hosted by Andrews, the podcast. That was mistaken. It's hosted by the community, the Jones Avenue community, but we'll get that changed. But it's a free community event. Resources will be, available for different types of resources. There'll be free food, and one of Andrews' own is going to be the keynote speaker. He said he don't know nothing about being a keynote speaker, but we'll get him in there, and he'll do a good job. And that's Quan Pope. Everybody knows him as Pope. Used to coach basketball in Andrews, but moved on to Greenville and been coaching for a number of years, but definitely still heavily connected with the town of Andrews and its people and his family, because that's where his family's from. All right. And so, guys, you know what it is. It's Tuesday. Welcome to Andrews, the podcast, the number one information source in Georgetown County. And y'all know how we do on Tuesday night. So let me go ahead and bring none other than the mayor of the town of Andrews, South Carolina, retired Colonel Frank McClary on.
Good evening, what's going on out there?
Doing good, doing good.
Got my new gear here. Just picked this up here from Gene Ward's though.
Couldn't turn it down. Man, that's what's up. Gene Ward supporting. They got good gizzards and veterans gear.
yeah, good stuff. So I had to put it on display tonight. How's everything going?
Yeah, man, it's going good, man. It's going. I know since the last time we talked, I don't know if we got to talk about the softball team any. Girls went out to Barnwell. They dropped the. Do you know what's this deal with? Did Andrews ever play Oceanside, and what was the score of that game?
Yeah, and I'm sad to say, I haven't been following. I believe they did win, but they lost the second game. I saw where they didn't win the state. I believe they did. I'm not sure, but the thing that's those guys, the softball team, the baseball team, track and field, and golf, I mean, reach a high level in the competition this year. In fact, we had two of our coaches, Coach Poston and Miss Thea, are named Coach of the Year.
Okay.
Her obviously track and field, and then for his Coach Poston on the baseball side, and it's probably another, the other Poston maybe because of the golf team has made it up, and I think they're still out competing at the state level. So a lot happening down there with the with our Yellow Jackets, and I just didn't get out, and like we generally do for the baseball for basketball and football, but nonetheless those young student athletes are performing at a high level.
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of won't be a good time for me to say that I'm excited for the new football season to come back. I'm about to get this lens. It's a lens that I wanted. The lens is typically about $2,200, and I found one for about it's. I put it like this: if you thought those pictures were awesome last year, this year is gonna blow you. It's gonna blow your mind. I'm getting in the helmet this year.
Oh
Yeah,
wow!
I'm getting in the helmet, the sweat on the face, like I'm going there. I'm making that investment, and it's gonna be spectacular.
I see you have a new tool out there. You're sporting around in the drone. You think you're going to be? I don't know if the drones are allowed.
Well, the one
Be a great
and
shots,
I
though.
mean, I tell you, it's been a good. It's been a new drone's coming too, but and the one that I'm getting, you won't you won't know what's up there. This new drone that I'm getting has a 6 mile range.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's about to be. We about to take this thing to another. What my man say? A whole nother
level, huh? Yeah, I mean,
level.
just seeing that is give you obviously a different perspective of I've seen the shots you've done of Andrews doing the Divas parade and the Fun Day, and then some of the shots that you've made from or the videos from Columbia, and it's fascinating to see things from that perspective.
Yeah.
And, so it's a good thing.
I was up over Charlotte this weekend, and that was scary because the planes and the and I but I do have an app that I can check and see if the flight paths and whether or not I'm able to fly over that. That was
yeah, because FAA come for you now.
Man, that's scary. I was gonna take it up downtown Charlotte, and as soon as I thought about it, a helicopter came across, and I'm like, man, I'd have been right there with a helicopter was coming across that.
Wow.
And so yeah, it you gotta be careful. It can that's can be
but it's a
very
great tool
dangerous
for what you do. And again, as you expand your capabilities, and to bring and create memories for people, and I think that's a fascinating tool. I'm sure you're probably getting requests to share that kind of knowledge and do some teaching that kind of business, because it's huge. I mean, it's not new technology, but again, as you integrate it into what you do through your photography business, I think it's huge, and you'll probably get quite a few requests for that.
Yeah, because what I'm learning is that everybody's taking pictures. Everybody's taking pictures. Everybody got a phone taking pictures, but nobody's retaining these pictures. A lot of these pictures just end up in a hard drive, on a phone somewhere.
Yeah,
and people still enjoy, especially kids, picking up a heavy photo album and kind of going through and recognize that, oh, that's Uncle such and such, that's Uncle, and so that's a big focus on what I'm doing is I got this album that I'm about to put out of Homecoming, the past Homecoming, and then I'm going to do one from the Homecoming before that. That's going to be it's going to be nice. I'm looking forward to printing that out.
Well, I'll just give you an example. How important it is to capture these things, and then and make sure they're in the right repository, because I only have like, my mother passed in 1996, very young age. And I only have about 2 or 3 photos, not very good quality, of my mother. And so that's all I have. Now, of course, dad been with us, and preferably he'll be with us for a long time. We got tons of pictures of him all over the place, but I just don't have those memories of my mother. So it's important that, again, that body of work that you're doing and capturing these moments for these kids in school, and now you're getting called out to do proms and all that other business. It's going to be lasting memories for these folks. So yeah, hey man, I think it's a good business, and keep expanding. Kudos to
Yeah,
you.
I've been studying. I'm continuing to study because these kids, you got to offer them a little something. So I'm about to experiment with a smoke machine and some some other things just to keep it fresh,
Yeah,
keep it yeah.
awesome,
But
awesome.
so what's been going on in the town front there?
Well, uh, I was just thinking about that. It's politics is only exciting during campaign time.
Oh man.
For people and interesting to others. And then after that, it's time for the work. You got to put the work in, and so you're away when during that campaign time. You're out and everything is popping. Like now, it's really, we're consumed with now getting things done. We still every opportunity we go for money funding to expedite some of the things we're trying to get done. So we spend a lot of time doing that. Right now, we're in our budget season. Again, nothing is excited about that, but it's very, it's a critical time for all organizations to make sure you get that right. So when you're talking about balancing a budget, and it's not that easy when you have you have more expenditures than you have revenue, and so that's what's consuming me now. Last week we had an opportunity to go. I sit on the South Carolina Community Development Board. I'm a board member there, and so we got to spend some time annual meeting in Rock Hill. And so as we deal with the budget situation, you're also trying to stay connected with what's happening across the state. How do you go out there and learn and see where the resources are? And so it was my first time in Rock Hill, and I'll tell you, Rock Hill is very impressive. They are giving Charlotte, these little, not necessarily a run for their money, but they're holding their own.
Well, that's where the money is.
Yeah,
that's where the money. Fort Mill and the areas down there. Yeah, that's where the bread at, man.
And so we go to these places and we learn. This one was focused on homeless, and where the affordable housing. So it's really was focused on HUD, and then how are some of these other cities and towns addressing these needs. And so a lot of information came back out of that. We will be reaching back out to ECHO, and I can't remember that's the acronym. I can't remember what it is, but those guys provide housing and shelter for veterans or anyone that's homeless. And homeless, we have to really understand the definition. That's just not someone that is out on the street. Homeless is if you're living with a friend or a relative that's not your place. You are part of those numbers, if it's captured somewhere. So we spent a lot of time discussing that thing and looking at some of the success stories of other places. So we had people from all over the state of South Carolina in there, kind of sharing, their resources or where they got it from, and so that's kind of what keeps me going. But again, the budget, I'm not sure if you've seen the agenda for
Yeah,
this
actually,
Thursday's meeting.
I saw it was posted earlier.
And you'll see
here
it's
it is.
probably and this is probably now the first time you see that amount of things that are on Eastern Carolina Housing Organization. That's what it is, ECHO, and those are the guys I was talking about. And the guy, in fact, the head of that organization is a recovering addict, alcoholic, and now he's the CEO of this thing that now can address, firsthand what the needs are for people that find themselves in the situation, and how to help them get get back on their feet, moving in the right direction. That's kind of the.
Is there an because I know that has become that's an ever growing problem in Georgetown County. Has any conversation come back up about, aside from what you just offered us there, to address this problem?
No, unfortunately, we're not having those conversations as a county. There may be some things being discussed, independently. I'm not sure, but and I think if this would be this is one needed joint effort, a combined effort by the county, all the municipalities, the county, and the county coming together and creating, bringing our resources, what little resources we have, and seeking funding for that. But I have not heard that, so I believe that each of us may be working, trying to find a solution, but I'm not certain. But it's a high demand for it.
Absolutely, and because I mean, I saw that one church that I can't remember I don't know if you recall, but they were asking about, as a property that the town controls, about using it for a shelter.
Yeah, that was Church of God.
And so,
but it didn't get off the ground, the concept, because again, it was immediate pushback from the neighboring, and understandably, because when you bring folks in, they're not probably in the best state of mind, condition to be a good neighbor. So bringing a facility inside a community like that would certainly raise some concerns. So I understand that part. But if we don't do something and get the folks the help that they need, or the housing, then they will probably visit you under other conditions. So we gotta figure this out.
Then because I mean, if I'm tracking this properly, right? And I saw an article that I meant to do something on, so I got to go back and find that article in the Georgetown Times. It was dealing with, I know a friend of mine was on the front cover, Mr. Kevin Collins was on the front page about the housing situation. They're being moved out of their apartment complex over in, I think that's Maryvale area. Now, I'm not, I can't speak to it because I don't know a lot about it, but I am aware of the fact that Georgetown County has a lawsuit against it about low income housing, because I heard what you said, where that group comes in and builds housing, and provides housing. The question would be, on a county level, like where, because with the cost of houses now, the housing costs, and the lack of low income housing, it seems as if that's a powder keg. Like Georgetown is building to have a crisis in the future when it comes to housing people, low income people.
Yeah, well, and housing in general is a shortfall across the state, and it gets to become even worse when you're talking about small towns like Andrews, and then, so you'll find people that lives in substandard homes, that really cost them more to maintain that through utilities and stuff as it would to purchase your own low, affordable homes. And you said affordable, hey, that's a sliding scale, because what's affordable to me,
hey, that right there, bro. And here's something that's happened. I seen it in Columbia. I seen it in Orangeburg.
Yeah,
some of these older communities, older Black communities, I'm just gonna say that. This one that I just went through in Orangeburg, where the new houses they're building there starting at $250,000, and right next door to it is, dilapidated housing. So it's just like, how is that going to work itself out in the future? You know what I mean? And again, that speaks to what you said across South Carolina. So yeah, there's a housing.
And I think a part of the one you mentioned, the situation that the housing project that was in motion and got killed at the county council level. One of the things that concerns, so a lot plays into this thing. So then, as you were just describing, there's a house that probably is worth 300 or 400,000 or whatever the case may be. And if you bring in a development that is not, then you got to look at the value. How does this affect the value of the homes here? And that's where the homeowners association comes in, and to protect the homeowners, of course, and so you can maintain the value of your home. So then, what do you do? And if you're small town Andrews, it's not a lot of empty space that you can say this is where we can put a 50 or 60 unit, home.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that's where the county that has obviously more open space or untapped, land potentially they can do those things. You can do that. Like Williamsburg County, just a big rural county. They've got nothing but space. And so then do you go find a spot where you can do that, not affect other homes and then that's gonna probably have some negativity that comes with it too, because now you're isolating a population of people, and oftentimes it is those that that are struggling. And so now you get into a whole lot of things that the federal government started asking you in terms of race and economic status. Are you isolating people? Are you segregating people? So it's a lot that plays into it, and but it has to be done because we got people that are suffering and living in substandard houses. So we, in these positions, elected officials, have to figure that out, because that's really where it lies. And of course, above my pay grade is where a lot of that is decided.
Yeah, it's going to be something fascinating to watch moving forward. You know what I mean?
But it's one of my it's been on my on my list and just figure this thing out, and I just have not been able to get my arms around it. But hopefully, again, through this association, and as we go around and learn and become more and more informed about how these things happen, and we can tap in some of the successes of other people, we can probably get this thing done.
Yeah, because I mean, the way it looks, the rising prices, there's not going to be a lot of homeowners in the future.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
New homeowners, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's something to think about. And that I had a conversation with a young man from Andrews, Roman Gamble, I can say his name, and he was telling me about a friend of his who's a lawyer, and he does these lectures on putting your property in a trust so that when your children inherit it, they don't find themselves in a situation where they can't even afford to pay the taxes, to acquire the property. And I say that because moving forward, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna be tough. And if it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Yeah, Rock Hill was a little pulled down country town, man. Nothing in it, and now it's they got.
Yeah, what I see there, everyone's got to find your niche, and so what I see is the Mayor Pro Tem gave us a pretty good rundown of the projects, and there are tons of projects they're working on, but it seemed like it's outdoor recreation, so they have a number of parks, and one they call Miracle Park, that really is designed, beautifully designed too. We got a tour of the place that it will accommodate anyone with special needs or and educational. It is just phenomenal. And this is the second year's ongoing right now that they have hosted the BMX. I call it the trials, but the big international BMX competition right there in Rock Hill. So they got people coming from across this world and just flooding, Rock Hill. So, of course, people come, demand for lodging and all this other stuff.
Absolutely,
and
man.
So we got out there at that BMX track, and he's like, man, this is right here, and it's attracting so many people from ages 3 on up. And the good thing about it too is that the locals get into the park, $5. It's going to cost everybody else to get in, but they really are doing it right, and it's having a positive impact. So it was very impressive. So I see it's the outdoor activities, Yeah, they're going to build now another one. They got, I think one of the council members is a former NFL player, so they're going to build this. I think it's a 16-acre or something other with just football fields, and I think basketball and those kind of things. Yeah, they have the state of the art indoor sports arena. So a lot of those things they refurbished a lot of those old buildings. That just was nothing 20 years ago. In fact, it was a big fire. So now you go into this place, they host every level of championship or sports in that thing. They got this beautiful auditorium. Just, it's awesome, man. I envy that thing. So I started thinking, what do we have that's comparable to this place in terms of space? And Oneida really would be, because on that other side where they're developing now, on the north side of Oneida, is really, they have a huge warehouse, and I could envision that thing being transformed into that, and then begin to host a lot of these events. And so it's wide open. So we learn, we get excited, and we come back, and that's what I'm doing now, trying to put some thoughts together and present that to textile mills. Yes, that's what it was. And it's awesome. So if anybody, just go Google it, go onto the website down there for Rock Hill, and they have a beautiful story.
So Ms. Wilson there is the head of the Democratic. She's the chairperson of the Democratic Party in Williamsburg County. Last night, Williamsburg County put on I won't say Williamsburg County. I'll say the Delta Sigma, the Theta sorority incorporated, put on a beautiful debate last night. It was well done. Moderators were, very good. It was well done. Now, I didn't get a pan out shot, but I could tell kind of from just hearing it, it was a pretty good turnout for that. And I just wanted to shout out the people who put that together. That was very good, very informative. Did you catch any of that?
Yeah, so some of it. Of course, we have an interest in what's happening, at least, a couple miles into Williamsburg County, because that's where some of our citizens of the town of Andrews, but also Williamsburg County, that's their county. So I'm paying close attention to the race that's for District 3. District 3 abuts our District 3 right at the County Line Road. So, Kennedy Cooper, Ernie Cooper, and whomever between, I think, Mrs. Rouse and Mr. Neesmith, those two have to be locked together to make things to improve the conditions along that road. So it looked, it very well done. And again, I shout out to the Delta Sigma Theta for doing that. Listen to it, and so now this is the time where it's less than 30 days before the primary election. Things are going to get very interesting.
Yeah, and I some of the candidates up there were just I saw a lot of poor public speaking, poor communication. Not that they were saying the wrong things so much, and a lot of it was nothing. A lot of them, and of course I chalk some of it up to nerves and public speaking, but I think to be an effective politician, you need to be able to communicate. So that's basically all you got is your words. And so, I watched it, of course, and I watched it again because, I have so much to do that I can just watch an hour and a half long debate form. But talk a little bit about, tell me, because I listen to you speak. I talk to you every Tuesday. I talk to you, every other day. I've seen you in action. What kind of training did you were you always a natural speaker, communicator with people? And along the way, what kind of training that you picked up to help you develop that skill?
A good question, and I agree with the points you're making in terms of what you should come to the table with. In terms of, for me, I'm very fortunate as a military officer. You always have a can you that's what you do. You speak. Communication is number one. Clear communication. And I often tell the staff, when I was learning in the military, said be brief, be bright, and be gone. And so what they're telling you is become the subject matter expert in what you are in charge of. You're trying to become the leader for. And so then you have to get in front of that camera. You can't be or that mic and be able to communicate effectively, and understanding that you're going to have to use multiple methods of communication to reach all of the people, the diverse group of people that you're trying to get a message over to. And so some of the things I would say is you figure out what you're supposed to be doing. It should not become a bashing thing. We can always attack each other personally, but really the people are concerned about what it is you're going to do or try to do. And I know for new candidates, it's like myself, and 8 years ago when I came in, I thought I knew what it takes to do this job, but it's very different once you get into the hot seat. But if you become a student of politics or whatever it is, learn, read, so you can talk to them about the substance. But if you get up there and it's just these word salad, as I've used,
it was a bunch of that last night, and
that's not helpful.
No,
and if our your citizens have to be, astute and aware of things that what they should be hearing, and so then they can ask informed questions as opposed to again attacking the various candidates. It's about getting in front of that doggone camera. But I've been doing it all my life, so that part is easy. Now I'll tell you, before the military, I wasn't a stage guy. I was somewhat of an introvert, believe it or not.
Mm.
But you have to, imagine having to, fight a unit in combat and giving instructions and clear and keeping your head together. That was my life. So this comes pretty easy. What I had to do though is dig into the subject and learn the job, and not just my job, but what everybody else is supposed to be doing. So then, so we can make sound decisions.
And I think that's the recipe for the word salad is lack of knowledge of the subject matter, and then you just start coming in with filler words, and I don't think a lot of times if some of them go back and listen to themselves, they'll benefit from it. For one, right? Mm-hmm. And another thing is that the it causes them to repeat things. You know what I mean? And try to say something a different way. You just said the same. You know what I mean? Like you said, be brief and be gone. Be
bright and be gone.
Yeah. And so I thought it was.
And just be truthful, because the ability to fact check these days is at your fingertips. So it pays to learn the subject, and if you're a new candidate, I'd offer up to you, find those 2 or 3 things that that needs to be addressed, and you kind of become the expert on it, and then you can probably run a more effective campaign.
Because I saw when they spoke about, they asked the candidates, and it was 5 candidates, 3 in District 4 and the 2 in District 3. And the question was about the Williamsburg County roads, because, I mean, if you've traveled Williamsburg County back roads, they're notoriously, bad. And the question, of course, the question was, what are you going to do to fix the roads? And there was 2 or maybe it was 3 out of the 5 that gave, in my what to me the proper answer is, first of all, who's in charge of the roads? Let's you know what I mean? Because just fix the roads that the roads may not belong to Williamsburg County. So a couple of the candidates went into the specifics about that, and didn't get into, well, we're gonna get together and we got to figure this thing out. You know what I mean? That's not getting it done. You know what I mean? Again, talking to the proper delegates, knowing who's on these different boards, knowing who has, knowing what state representative on the higher level that you need to speak to get in front of the traffic commission, the traffic board, or whoever that deals with these types of things. And so, again, it just,
yeah. And I think at that level, when you're talking county, they have, and I don't claim to know what the level of capacity that Williamsburg has, but I know as we deal with our county, it's funny, they have some capabilities to do some limited patching and those kind of things, and then of course the state owns all the roads in the majority of the roads in South Carolina. So then, what is that relationship, and then where does those council members fit in there to help move that? And that's to your point, and that's what you got to figure out. Where do you fit into all of these unmet needs? You got to be careful making any promises that you're making promises that you can't keep, especially when somebody else has the responsibility and you're not the owner of it. And so, again, back to just figure out what your role and how do you fit into all of these organizations that's supposed to come together to make this thing happen.
There was the Democrats in Georgetown, of Georgetown County, were in Andrews last night.
Yeah, they held a meeting here.
Okay. So it was a meeting. It wasn't a forum.
No, it was their, I think, their monthly meeting.
Okay.
I stopped by. Of course, I greet any elected body or whatever, whether it's Republican or Democrat. I want to go in and welcome them to the town. And so I had an opportunity to go in and I met Miss Marilyn Hemingway, who is the new chairperson for the Democratic Party here in Georgetown County. And so they're really regrouping. She's, again, this is her second meeting and trying to build that up in preparation. But they have a tall task in front of them because in this case the primaries.
We're going to put the smackdown on the Democrats this coming round of elections.
They're gonna get them.
Yeah, we're gonna get them because again, she's taking over a situation where she's gonna have to put in some work over there in Georgetown County with the Democratic Party, because there's no motivation there. There's no it's not inspired, and yeah, it's gonna be I ain't gonna say the BB word, because we get Trump, you say bloodbath, they think but it's gonna be it's gonna be rough for y'all come November.
Well, and I think both, as you look up and down the scale of both of the parties, they have their own challenges. But I will say, you got to make sure that you're organized. This is like, I'm reminded of combat. You got to be ready and organized to give yourself a fighting chance. But if you go into, and again, in this case, you're going into this primary and shortly followed, with the general election. And if you don't have it together, regardless of what party you have, it may not be a good outcome.
And that's, speaking of that primary, so right now it's locked in. Like for the candidates, it's locked in. Like there's no new voters coming now. If they wasn't registered as of the 11th, then they can't vote in this primary. And I feel like, I don't know, it's locked in right now. So the candidates really need to focus, need to be pulling.
So you got to go find available voters now.
Yeah,
so if you weren't able to grab numbers that weren't and get them in and convince them to come, now you got to go get what's out there. So it becomes like an Easter egg hunt. Go find the voters
and try not to waste too much time talking to people that's not going to be voting. That's that delicate. You know what I mean? Because if I was running, I'd be like, "Are you registered to vote?" And they're like, "No." I'd just be walking out the face. They be like, "Just do the."
It's yeah. Yeah, it's a gamble. It's a paradigm shift. Every campaign and it's different. And so I see now a lot of candidates are using again technology to their advantage. I did the same, but not to the level I'm seeing it now. So a lot of them are creating their own
I seen
podcasts.
tonight. I seen the two candidates in District 3. I saw uh Ms. Wilson was on with Randall, and that was great information. Good podcast. And then I saw Ms. Turquoise had a podcast on.
Right.
And so, like you said, these people are embracing this technology, and they should. Um, so, but
Especially when you got large areas like these, these county level, and of course it's state and federal. You got a large. I mean, I have a concentrated group of folks here in this little small 2.2 square mile town, but they got entire districts. So then the use of these kinds of tools and you hate these spam or spoof, whatever you call these robocalls. You hate them, but that is a tool that politicians use now.
I tell you what, they're gonna have to do. They're gonna have to do some campaign sign reform, because the signs are getting. And I mean, I saw it down your way, up my way. It's like we going big. You know what I mean? Like, just get the billboard, man. You know what I mean? Just get a room. Why don't you get a billboard? Why don't you?
Hey, I'm telling you, but it's a billboard. I mean, it's a sign war out there,
and that's good until we get one of these summer storms that come through and blow the sign. You know what I mean? Like, move that sign from that intended place. Then we got a whole nother situation. And I know I'm being what do they call us on the ship? Safety Susie. but I mean, that's just that's something I was thinking about as I was riding by these signs, because I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, the sign making business is a good business to be in doing politics.
No, it is a booming business, and because we've learned, if you do some analysis after you go through one of these things, you'll know that a lot of times people see this. That's all they see of you. And if you see enough of it, it's a psychological effect on voters, especially those who don't have the time or take the time to get to know the candidate. It's automatic to assume that I've seen a ton of signs. That must be the person, because they're invested in this thing. So that's what I'm voting for.
I can tell you, Solicitor David Pasco out here. I'm like, who's running against him? When I tell you, this man got a team doing the groundwork, like, whoa. So it's just like you said, go big or go home.
Yeah. And you guys have but I don't know if you're not in that district with there's my friend Cynthia. There she is. She's out of Patrick, South Carolina.
There you go. Not McCormick.
Not McCormick. Patrick, South Carolina. I'm going down to visit them, I like to go out and visit my friends at these places and learn some things. But you have an interesting race going over in the Clarendon County area as well.
Yeah. The Senate race over there with Eleazar. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Eleazar. Eleazar. My bad. I forgot to put the A on it. But Eleazar and Kevin Johnson.
Yeah.
And it's ugly. I mean, it is. They went at Eleazar's neck. They said he didn't live where he said he lived. They had him thrown off of the ballot, and then he had to go to court and to be placed back on the ballot. And so it's nothing nice. And these are both Democrats, so you know what I mean.
Hey, I mean, look, they're trying to vote the the Speaker of the House out of his chair. So it's a lot of infighting.
Yeah,
it's and so but unfortunately, you spend more time doing that than we are addressing the problems that we're facing. That's what happened. That's what's hurting. So then the citizens at all levels, if that's what becomes your focus, they're being left out of. That it's not the needs are not being met. To be honest with you.
And I mean, speaking of tension, like last night at that debate, that I was watching from Williamsburg County, that the person running against the incumbent, the newcomer, the new candidate,
Mm-hmm.
she was very vicious. She was vicious. I'm just gonna be straight up now. She was vicious
Well,
because
which
she kept her point was she kept driving on, and I don't know. So maybe she was correct uh in her aggressiveness, but she kept driving the point home about and again I got to look into what was going on in the clerk of court's office. Now I did find out that the clerk of court gave herself a raise, and that was pretty much a point of contention over there. Now there was nothing illegal done in what she did. I just don't think it was communicated well from what I've picked up, just and that's just today, because I kept saying I kept noticing she kept questioning the integrity of the office. And she said some pointed things like, uh, it's not about self, as if the current, you know what I mean? You have to make these inferences. You're talking about me. So, she's making these claims that the office is in chaos, is in shambles, is mismanaged. It's about self. They only focus on a certain group of people. And so yeah, she came.
Hey, politics is a
Yeah.
bad game, man. So those, like you say, it's a lot of character assassination that goes on during this time. And again, you lose focus of what you're there for. But everyone is trying, they're trying to win, but it's life after that. So how many relationships are damaged after a campaign is over? Where do you
Man.
go from there?
And
We have friendships, family. I mean, and it really gets to a point that it's you've lost that relationship.
mhm.
And when you get personal, and there's so many things that, again, if you become familiar with what your job will be or is, and run on those things, the things that matter, then you can move beyond that and still work together, in the community. But then when you let things get out of control, um, and like you say, when you start talking about, people's integrity and you're stealing and all this kind of nonsense, trust me, there's enough people that's dog watching or bird watching politicians at every level, that if you are taking money, or doing those kind of things that are improperly using, the government's, you're gonna get smoked. It's gonna happen. Just don't do it. So then just run on the issues, and don't kick, because life goes on afterwards. Okay. But if
Mhm.
you're not put out
Mhm.
here on this national, or whatever level you are, and now you don't put that person out here, and there's no such thing, I think, as um, defamation when you're running. So you say what you want to
Yeah,
say.
and I mean, and that's a slippery slope, because
Yeah.
if I want to win this race and I got some goods, I'm gonna have to drop that. I'm gonna have to drop it on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's the nature of this business, and that happens. You need
because
to understand.
that came up last night.
Oh, he did.
What's his name? Neesmith questioned the character of Rouse on. Now I don't know what the lawsuit is involving, but when I hear lawsuit, I don't necessarily think a bad thing, right? And I don't think um from until you look a layer deeper into these things, at the surface it may look bad that, hey, I'm running for office, but I'm suing the county, right? But then on the other hand, it may be a situation. I mean, if it's me, you know what I mean, I'm still a citizen. And so me suing the county could be my way of holding the county accountable for something that they actually, did wrong. So I would love to get a, what I mean? That's why the debates are good. That's why I like the debates, you know what I mean, too. Um, and
Yeah,
so,
and, and,
it was
and you said you hit the nail on the head. The bottom line: anybody can bring a claim against you. for whatever reason. You just got to go through the process. Doesn't make it valid
That's it.
or invalid. It's just that's your right.
Right.
And then it plays out in court, whether it was just, and again, it doesn't necessarily ends in a defamation of character. It's just somebody thought that you wronged them or some organization wronged them, and you go out there. And so you just got to, and now, unfortunately, if that's, if people are just throwing things out there to get an edge, an advantage, then that would be obviously wrong. But I don't know the
Oh,
details of that.
no. He didn't just throw it. Now there's some validity to what he said. There is a lawsuit in place. You know what I mean? Because I did my little, you know what I mean? But
Did your research?
it's valid to what he's saying. Now, again,
No, I was just speaking in general.
I don't.
Not to that case.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just speaking in general. That because it
I
happened.
got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This particular
so
one, I've heard over time, but it's that's why I say it's at this time right now. The closer you get, the uglier campaigns become.
Oh
It's a fight. It's a fight down to the time people are punching tickets.
And like you said, I think this is the time when people lose themselves because you're getting close to anxiety starts to build, and you trying to figure out, man, you want to go into this thing and say, well, I didn't leave no stone unturned. You know what I mean? And so sometimes that stone that you want to flip over is just flipping over everything.
Yeah, get ugly, but at the end of the day, it should be about the people we're trying to serve. So at some point in time, throw in some of those things and talk about those.
That's and is that this again, like you said, during the election times, it's exciting. You know what I mean? Everybody's focused, everybody's locked in, everybody's keyed in. I'm looking down the road when there's no lights, there's no, you know what I mean? Are you still doing the work? Are you still as motivated as you were about winning the position? You know what I mean? Are you just as motivated about doing the people's work? And so
and that's where you get to assess. That's where you can get to assess whoever these your representatives are, regardless of what level it is that are they putting the work in? Are they trying to make a difference? But keeping in mind that in government, I don't care what level, I've been at the federal, down here at the municipality, it takes a minute to get things done. Even when you get money in hand through these grants, it could be 12 to 18 months before you see a full, a project come to completion. Mm-hmm. And that's just the nature of it. And again, educating yourself on how this thing happens will help you manage expectation. It's really what we want to get us as elected officials and our citizens understanding how the process work. I get a lot of questions. I've seen them on Facebook. Well, when is Anytime Fitness going to open? When is Little Caesar Pizza? Those are businesses, so they have to go through the same thing. We should be excited that they're coming, and when they open, that owner has a lot to go through. I had an opportunity to meet with the owner of Anytime Fitness today and walk through the facility. It's coming along, but they have some of the same challenges too. There's not a whole lot of contractors that are waiting to do work, and so you got to work through that. The owner wanted it done last year. Honestly, so did I, because now I'm 200 pounds, but it takes a little bit of time. And you're talking now. In this case, he had to totally gut this place. This was CVS. Now to turn this into a fitness center that requires all those things. So that's a whole. You remodel. You're modifying this place here. Change of use is what we, the technical term, but it takes a lot goes into it. And so, government action is slow. That's just the nature of it. And so we just got to learn how to, manage the expectation and continue to work towards, like beach. Beach should have been done a long time ago. Now the pavement, that's the only thing that's left now, but it's a rainy season. So we need 3 good days of good weather so they can come out and do what they need to do on beach. And that project would have been done, but it should have been done months ago. But that's just the nature of the beast.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to figure out how these things work and be patient.
It's like being a sailor. You know the day you're gonna leave. You don't know the day you're getting back.
They used to call it in Korea. We go to Korea up to Second Infantry Division. They call this place the turtle farm, where you're in process. So it's one area, and part of the section is when you in process on one end, and when you're leaving a year later, it's on the other end. So they call it the turtle farm. They say to get from this point to this point, it's going to take you a year. And that's just the way, crazy example to explain that government actions are slow.
Question. Can you guys load videos on your apps? I got an idea, and this is going to go into the next part of the conversation that we're going to have. Can you guys load videos on your app? And the app I'm talking about, of course, the Town of Andrews app. If you haven't already, please go download it. It's everything Town of Andrews in your pocket. Okay. And
it's a sophisticated system. I don't know, but I would tell you the administrator worked hand in hand with this company. It was a long process and so much detail. I don't know if I could.
That answers that. So
yes, we
can. here's what I'm thinking, Ms. Wilson. Okay. There was a situation where this guy was didn't receive any prison time. You know, the situation in Georgetown County that I was talking about with the guy's name is William Church. He was convicted of assaulting a 13-year-old a child from 8 to 13 and received 0 jail time. So here's what I was thinking, right? I wrote some scripts. I wrote a script on some information that I got, the numbers that I got. I wrote a script like a PSA, kind of talking about that. And I was wondering if the town would be interested in, and of course I wouldn't charge, to record these videos and upload them. You speak, the town administrator, and just kind of read that script and talk about some of the and it's Georgetown County specific numbers. But I'll get into a little more into that later. But any thoughts on this situation? From what from what you saw in the newspapers, and from this and the solicitor's response.
Well, obviously, my heart goes out to this young lady, this little girl. Anybody who experienced something like this is horrible. Haven't read all of it. I've seen this portion of it that was posted, Gab, and I've obviously listened to your podcast. I want to see the transcript from the court, because it's in my mind, I can't fathom how someone pretty much walks after.
Well, the solicitor offered an answer to that. He he said that the mom and the daughter did not want to testify in that case, which makes me say, well, if the mom and daughter wouldn't testify, then why didn't you just let them go then?
Yeah, and I think that's the other part. We talk about politics and everyone getting informed or understanding how it works. It's the same thing in legal situations. Our law is very complicated, but we make it simple when they said, okay, you got a due process facing your accuser. Now, in this case, if what you just said is actually how the thing went down, then they should have turned to the evidence. If there's any DNA, if there's any evidence that an adult been with a child, the state can take that case up, regardless of what that parent. You could be under some duress. You don't want to testify. But I've seen these cases. Now I don't know this one. I'm not here to challenge the solicitor, because I want to see all. I would have to see all the evidence, because a lot of things happen that. The bottom line is that even the accused have rights.
Yeah,
and
that's why they
there's a
call it.
process.
They call it the criminal justice system.
Yeah, it's criminal justice system. That's my undergraduate degree, and so I kind of get it, but it's hard it's hard for citizens, us, to understand how in the world, how in the world this could happen. And if you find, and so I don't know, it's mind boggling, and it's disturbing, to be honest with you. Because now this guy, I guess he's out, right? Is he on house arrest or anything, or what's?
No, he's on probation. He's got,
So
and he hasn't. He probably don't have to report the probation for another 30 days or something like that.
so
Jimmy
he's out.
Richardson.
He's free to move about.
Yeah, he's out. He's
So
walking
you got
the street.
a guy that you haven't, that can do this again, and probably have done it, before. It's just this one child that, is on the forefront. So no sexy. So is he on a registered list?
Oh, he'll be on that list. And he's got, so the actual sentence was 15 years suspended to 4 years probation. So and in the conversation I'm reading here, Richardson, it's the best we could do. In a conversation with Gab News, Richardson said he does not like the way that the case ended, but based on the circumstances, the only other choice was to drop the charges altogether. Again, I'm not defending this guy. So if you didn't have enough evidence to go to trial, then you've got somebody to plead guilty to something that they possibly couldn't have done. I mean, I don't know.
They
Obviously he did it because he pled
charge.
guilty. That's what I'm saying. Like, why would he accept a lesser charge if it says here, Richardson said he talked to the girl's mother by phone and was told they would not return to testify in trial. He said they were even offered airline tickets, but the answer was still no. Why at that point? And I'm not asking you to answer that because I know you're not a lawyer. But why wouldn't they arrest the mom at that point? Because the child had been violated. When asked, DNA was collected from the miscarried baby. Richardson says some was collected, but there was not enough to positively identify the father.
Yeah, and again, the judge is going to require you to come with evidence that, that clearly shows that an individual is responsible for this, in this case, this heinous act here, this terrible situation. Now, there's public opinion, but then public opinion is not going to stand up in court. Unfortunately, and that's what's happening. So if it's not enough evidence, I don't know what that requires.
Listen to this part right here, okay? The amount of DNA taken from the placenta was not enough for a profile, and Church has denied being the father, Richardson said. If you do not have a witness, someone to put their hands on the Bible and testify, you have no case to present to the jury. Richardson said, I really feel the victim's testimony would have been enough to convict. So why did they accept his plea?
Well, it depends on what the charge is. He probably didn't plead to rape or those kind of things. It may be something else that is happening. It could have been grooming. Grooming is
I got you.
If he was doing something that, was leading to that may be what he, they have enough evidence to. And so it's really funny. So it'd be interesting to see what was he charged with that he plead down to. Because obviously I don't think it was having, relations with this child. That was the charge. That's unfortunate. I'm curious to know, how did this even become a case? Who brought it to the authorities for it to get to this point? And now that you have no witness, you really have no case.
And just to close that out, it says the solicitor also said that Judge Ben Culberson is being unfairly blamed by some people posting online,
And
posting their
that's the
opinion.
hey, that is social media, and these platforms have caused more harm than good in our society because everyone expresses their opinion. Again, we all going to have a reaction. I had a reaction when I read this, just based on the limited information that was published. We automatically say this guy should be in jail somewhere. And but then in the legal community, they have to have evidence. They have to have witnesses. They have to have in order to convict someone. That's of course that's the way it is.
And I mean, I agree. I mean, without that, we would have, we'd have chaos. So,
Yeah.
I do believe in due process. I think it's probably the greatest legal system. You know, is it fair all the time? No.
It has been. It's been manipulated. It's been used. It depends on if you got a good attorney.
You got that's what it is. People talk about race. No, it's money. If you got money, that's that. You could buy your way out of some things.
Yeah, I mean it's too much. I'd say that, friends, too much politics in the law. I mean, you have
it's the way that we select our solicitors. It's the way that we select our judges.
Yep. And when politics get involved, it gets real ugly. When they become, that you a Republican or Democrat sitting in these seats, and someone has appointed you there. Who are you loyal to? Are you loyal to the law, or to the one who appointed you? And that's where I think the conflict of interest comes into play in some of the cases. I'm hoping that a child could have been lying because.
And that's very, very possible. Child could have been lying. And again, that to me, I'm saying, okay, what if the child is lying and this man, if the child was lying, I don't understand why you would plead guilty to anything. If you didn't do anything, why would you plead guilty to anything?
Well, okay. and again, it may not be the sexual contact that we all think it is.
But I mean, even if that's what I'm saying. Even if it's
well, back to your point, and if he was facing 20, was he facing 20 years if it was confirmed that it was a sexual act?
I guess if they could have confirmed that the baby was his.
Yeah.
So I mean, who else was the possible father? It's a lot of questions there. The girl, I question whether or not that child is safe safe because with the mom leaving like that. Again, the child could be lying. It's a lot going on there. Like you said, when I first saw it, I'm like, man, that is bananas. You know what I mean? And then the more you start peeling the onion back, you start seeing it's a bigger story here.
But the thing is that what we have to take out of these situations is that know where your kid, know who's have your children.
That's that thing.
That's the thing. So if nothing else, it should be a wake up call for those who have small children that are not under your care or your watch 24 hours a day. Know who they're with.
Man, ladies, you bringing these strange men around your daughters and your sons. It's dangerous. Okay, it is dangerous to do that, right? Because again, proximity is power, and you bringing them in. You look at all these cases. These guys were. I made the point that none of them were the father of these kids. Now, not to say that doesn't happen, but all these people were given access in these cases, given access to children, and you see what happened. And again, Georgetown County leads in a lot of the wrong numbers. A lot of the wrong numbers. They you know
These
we're
are the
leading.
ones you presented. They're all from Georgetown County.
All from Georgetown County. All something doing with minors. And this is not all of them, but all of these guys, some kind of situation with a minor.
Yeah, some of the faces look familiar. Yeah,
And so
it's the time to be overprotective.
yes,
It's okay to be overprotective when it comes down to your children. There's a reason, and apparently South Carolina must be in the high numbers in terms
yep,
of nationwide.
crimes against them kids.
Yeah, so understand that and protect your children. You can't assume because these kind of incidents or experiences these kids have, they may not ever recover from those things.
I don't see how they could. I
And it
mean,
leads to other things, behavior that just going to ruin their shorten their lives and ruin their lives before they have a chance to grow up.
and I mean, if this guy he pled guilty to it, so he said he's guilty of some kind of sexual deviancy, right? Uh, Now the question is, because you got cases here of
Mhm.
people who reoffend. What are the chances of him reoffending, having escaped this, you know, dodge this bullet, so to speak?
Right. Yeah. And yeah. And we have to, again, in our approach, we have to, be careful not to be victim focused or in this particular case or parent, but it's just generally as adults. It's not just the parents because our kids are at school, so then they're in the care of our educators. It's just we just have to be vigilant because
Yeah,
I don't care who you are. You're an adult. You have a responsibility to take care of kids that are in your under your care.
and a big part of that is who you bring around them, because in them numbers that I'm talking about, 59%.
Mm-hmm.
It's some crazy percentage of the perpetrators being a parent or a caregiver. Like
Yeah,
it's, I mean, it's
and those are the statistics, and you got to, it is what it is, and so then friends, neighbors, everybody, if we just have to, I don't think we can be too careful when it comes down to our children.
no. And again, according to uh, the numbers from Department of Social Service in
Mm-hmm.
2020, these numbers bear out the fact that the farther or the further away from the family, the
Mm-hmm.
safer the child is.
Hmm.
That's I know that sounds counterintuitive, but that's what the numbers listen, where are these numbers? Okay. Where it says here what percentage of the victims. Okay, 74. Okay, 74% are females, little girls, 26% of males. 55% of the perpetrators were parents or caregivers. 24% of the perpetrators were other relatives. 12% of the perpetrators were friends or acquaintances. 9% were of the perpetrators were strangers. So
Mm-hmm.
you see what I'm saying? It seems as if the further you get away from the family, the safer the child is.
And put it in perspective of that population of in this category of crime, and so that population is what is the numbers in South Carolina?
All right. So well, in Georgetown, all right, so here you go. Check this out. In South Carolina, this represents 2.4 cases per 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so the overall population of South Carolina, general, let's see.
3.4
Let me, 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.4. 3.
I know the county is somewhere in the 60 plus thousand, I believe.
All right, so the state, you're looking at 5.2 million as of 2020, 5,283,000
And growing.
and growing. Better know that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so then you look at that, and then the population, these folks that you're talking about here, um, one is too many, in my opinion. One is too many. But we don't want to certainly say, the whole state, our entire state, a bunch of perverts.
Hey man,
But there's too many of them.
it's I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it's just
Historically, I
being
don't know how
responsible.
this. Yeah, yeah. It's a wild situation. But again, let's see. Parents stop.
They're indicators. If someone is, if we're watching, they're indicators. Oh Lord,
I don't know. You got to unpack that one, Veronica.
nickname. That's in the statistics. She just, Ms. Veronica just threw a curveball at us.
Yeah, you just threw a curve at me there, Veronica. All right, guys, listen. We'll bring you back up to speed here on some things that's happening here in Georgetown County again on. Do this one first on Thursday. This coming Thursday, which will be not tomorrow, day after tomorrow.
Cooper, Mr. Cooper.
Yep, Team Cooper presents meet and greet fish fry Thursday, May 6th, 16th. Excuse me. 2024, 6 to 8 p.m. This is going to take place in the North Santee community, 2290 Mount Zion Avenue. Ernie L. Cooper Sr. for County Council. This event is sponsored by Team Ernie Cooper. And next day, they're
Have
going
we
to
had him on the
be.
program yet?
Not yet. We got to get that done. But I've been showing up to his events.
Yeah.
Definitely been doing that. Well, I got some pictures here from the last thing he did. Yeah, I've been definitely showing up at his events. Here we go. Also, this Friday, May 17th, 6 to 8 p.m., South Island Road. This is your South Island and Maryville communities. Please come on out. Again, 2221 South Island Road, Georgetown, South Carolina. Team Cooper, meet and greet fish fry. Please share that to whoever you need to share it to. Okay. I got you. Um, being I understand what you're saying. I understand where you're going with that. And so a child can describe, you know what I mean, what's going on with them. I follow you on that. And it's gotta be vigilant, man. I mean, the proof is out there that they are targeted, so can't be that enemy within your own gate. You gotta protect these kids. Gotta protect these kids. Get them involved in youth sports. I talked about that the other night. We need to get these young girls into softball and these other things, because if they're not participating in extracurricular activities, positive extracurricular activities, then they're going to be participating in negative ones. So,
Yeah, school will be out. School will be out here soon. High school graduation the 31st of May. So um, I think it'll be out for a couple of months, and so yeah, kids will be all over the town. So we're preparing for that as well.
yeah. Hey, Miss Wilson, if you're still in there, just quick question. Speaking of the high school graduates, is the Democratic Party in Williamsburg County doing anything to engage this class of seniors coming out. And the same question would be for Georgetown County, because I thought about that point. Like you got a whole nother round of voters to get ready to step out there.
It's true.
Yeah, a whole nother
and I'll tell you, a lot of like the Deltas, the Deltas in both counties are very active in voters registration and promoting. So they go into the school, and I think the Deltas on this side of the border, or the county line road, has been doing that throughout. I know they were doing it even during my campaign period, and so and not enough nonprofits are doing that. I think the NAACP, it typically does it. I'm not sure how active the ones have been in the local areas.
But Andrews, I would say this. I would and I mean I suggest this to the town. Is to have a forum, invite these younger kids out, even the ones that's juniors. You know what I mean? That's going to be the next round, and start a conversation as to why you should be voting. You know what I mean? Because it gets to the, are you registered to vote? And it's like, no, okay, then why? You know what I mean? Why not why you're not registered, but here's why you should be registered. Let's, you know what I mean? And get them engaged in that conversation, instead of as just like you come and you ask them to vote, and then you don't give them the proper context as to why they should be voting, or what they should be looking out for as a voter. And it says here, we reached out regarding voter registration, having a follow-up to energize them is a good idea. And that's why we're going to kick the Democrats in Georgetown butt this year, because there's the parties, and again, Ms. Maryland, I know you're doing the best you can. Next year, next cycle, you might get us, but this time right here, we about to crush y'all right now, because low energy, man. Winsburg County, different situation. I saw that last night. That was impressive. Again, salute to the Deltas for putting on that. And shout out to TY News, man. The sound, he had good sound. You know what I mean? And that was awesome. He did a good job with that last night. What we got here?
Yeah, that was a good set.
Yeah, and so that's you know what it's a rumor, and it's an excuse, right? And what it is that people just simply don't read. I mean, simply, and I ain't talking about nothing complicated, because if your felony was involving voter crimes or something like that, then you're not able to vote. Or if you're in the process. But if your case has been deposed, I mean, if that case has been done with, and you don't have any prior, you're not on probation or nothing like that, right then, you can register to vote. Okay. And again, it comes down to that whole, that's what the line is in there. You know what I mean? You're not eligible to vote as a felon if you were involved in some kind of election fraud or something like that.
That's
and
correct.
I got to put that up so people can see that, because that's the whole thing, man. I'm a felon, and they think that's just the excuse. You a felon, but you still live here, don't you? you still
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
So, but yeah, that I really I think that'd be a good move, is to just do basically some civics, you know what I mean? Like a civics energizing course, you know what I mean? To get these people to understand, look, you have a responsibility now. Okay. And so
Yep.
yeah. Well, I don't know. It's all good, man. It's another day, you know, another journey, I guess.
Gotta get it together, man. That's your voice. Your vote is your voice. So
No doubt. Any last words before we get out of here?
no. We council meeting on Thursday. As you flashed up there, we have our first reading of the budget, and if you take a look at it, there are several of our ordinance will be amended to ensure that we're capturing, staying current with the cost of doing business, that kind of stuff, and updating ordinances. So
Okay, yeah, because that was a topic when they was trying to get rid of you as mayor. Um, that the ordinances were. You remember that?
oh, the orders are fine. Yeah, the orders are fine. What these are, we're looking across. We did a complete analysis of all of our fees and services, and see that we have not stayed current with the operating costs for the last 12 years. So nothing has changed in our fees in more than 12 years. And so we were using that same budget that now your expenditures have increased, but not your revenue. And your revenue hasn't stayed matched with the cost of living. So we reviewed all of our fees and services, and the impact of 98% of these things will be on any new customers, if you will. People that already have services won't be, like tap fees, various services that we provide. So it's that's what we're addressing right here now. We presented yesterday. We had a workshop to bring the council up to speed on the budget. And real quick, the way the budget works, the way we manage it here is that, we'll send out, we call a zero-based budget. That those things go out to the chief and, the heads of the department. And they said, okay, here's what I'm going to need to be able to operate and function and do the things that I'm, my assigned duties. And so all those things that come, we'll get them all back. The staff will get them back along with our accountant. And they're always more money. They're asking for more than what we can afford. So we have to go through this decision-making processes to determine what is more important, what is critical. Because at the end of the day, you got to have a balanced budget by the 1st of July. And so that's where we are right now. We've made those cuts. We've shared that information with the members of council so they can be aware, of where we are, because once the budget is set, then we manage the day-to-day operation based on where these monies are on each of those line items. So we're there. We will do some tweaking because we have to have 3 readings. This will be the 3 readings and a public hearing, so that people can have an opportunity to ask questions or whatever the case may be.
In your time doing these budgets, have you gotten that from the people? Have you had any much interaction as far as people, the public questioning or wanting more information on the budget?
No. I suspect it will be as people become more informed or curious about how things are gone, and so I expect, and that's good. That's good, and they will see that even in past years, audits are done. Audits are good. Where we send money and that's where money is going, and so don't have an issue with that. I invite questions.
No doubt. That's yeah. I mean, I think that's the job of the public. What I mean? Because we'll get in there and talking about issues, and if you were at the budget meeting, a lot of times you can answer a lot of questions as to what the town's doing and why they ain't doing this and why they don't have that, and all these other things that come up, like because again, I heard you say this during the campaign. People running the town's budget is not like not running your household budget.
Oh no, different rules. These things are when it's whatever comes in, all of our revenue has to be accounted for on a line item. I think we have 256, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe a couple more now because we've added some 256 line items across, each of the departments. And so every penny is accounted in there. And so as we exhaust the funds throughout the year, though, every month we report, here's where we are. You'll see the checks and balances. Checks are presented to the council, what's been spent. Then they can do the simple math and say, okay, if you want to question or have questions about something, here it is right here for you. Now that we have the website, those things will be available for anybody, not just our citizens. Anybody can go and look at your budget. And that's because it's public. This is public fund. That's why you have to be transparent, especially when it comes to money. And you're still going to get accused of doing something crazy because people don't understand. And that's just the nature of the people in politics.
Yeah, I'm learning. That's just that's goes with the territory kind of.
I invite any of them to check the books. That's all it is. But it's not an exciting time doing that, but it is an important time to get that right and then manage it throughout the year. So you can pay your bills. You got to pay your bills, and we're doing that.
No doubt, sir. It's
yes, sir. I got to get out of here because I got to be back early tomorrow. And that's what in fact, I got a few more things to do with respect to the budget, looking over these amended orders. I I call them ordinance, to make sure we got those right. And so I won't slow Ms. Parson up tomorrow. She got to do her thing.
No doubt. I should be on the ground for that meeting. Hopefully I could, I don't know, it's been a uptick in bedbug cases here in the last.
So he said, the money making part of it.
Oh man, and I embrace it, and I'm just like, I don't. It seems like the bedbugs got a organization, and they just be like, all right, listen, we hitting this month right here. Hey. And I mean, what's crazy, man, is the cases get like, when you think you've seen that worst case. It's crazy, man. And
especially in South Carolina. Is it in South Carolina? I guess it's in the South. It's a lot of we're country, so you're gonna have these insects and bugs.
And it's the people transitioning from these states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, Chicago.
So they're bringing them. They're bringing them with them.
Yeah, bringing them with them. They coming down.
So we welcome the people, but leave the insects.
No. Bring the insects. Come on.
Oh, that's right.
bring them with you. Got to deal with them. Might as well get them dealt with down here.
That's right. Because that'll put you out of business, huh?
Oh man! But as long as that water bug, because let me tell you something. To somebody from up north, like Ohio, especially like that water bug is a traumatic thing. Like they'll sit there talking to me, but I've never seen a roach that big. Yeah.
They'll find it. They'll find their way in now.
Yeah, they're gonna find their way, and you gotta. It's called pest control. That's it. You can do something to kind of limit and to control. But I mean, it's just we're in their environment. Is the reality of it. And so
I never thought about it like that, but shared space.
That's it, man. That's it.
Shared space. All right, my friend.
All right, so listen, good deal, man. I will. I'm about to go make me a chicken salad here. I ain't ate yet, so.
Hey, I'm on this diet kick now, so I did look at those pictures, so when I had to put on my uniform a couple of weeks ago. Oh my God, I have gained so much weight.
Well, you gotta take it easy though. You can't try to get it all back in one. You know what I mean? You gotta give yourself that recovery time.
I've dropped 10. I bought a bike. I have a basketball shoes. I haven't used those yet, and I have my running shoes. So I'm out this morning. I did my 5 miles on the bike and ran a mile. easing back in it, and I'm down now. I'm below 200 now. I'm 198. Change the diet, cut the sugar out, because I love my coffee, obviously. And but sugar have so much, and I have to realize you're getting old, and so now I got my little blood pressure monitor. I check my blood, make sure I'm good, all that stuff, man. But I looked at it, I'm like, I've never been this big. And so it's got to go.
No doubt.
So I'll be out there on the trail tomorrow. I think I'm gonna start my little exercise club back up again, so I can be motivated by some other people. But I appreciate it. We'll see you down here.
Anytime we'll be in there in a little bit.
Oh yeah,
anytime we'll be there in a little bit.
I told him today. I said, man, look, I said my life depends on this. Come on, because I can work and do with other things, and then I can go there anytime. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to, we get that open because the rec has these really weird hours and got a lot of activities going. You just can't have it your way. And then with riding bike, you have to be careful because of the traffic. And we don't have a whole lot of, we don't have any bike path.
Designated. Yep.
Right. But hopefully through this new vision plan, we'll have some bike path and running, that we can get out there and do this thing safely. So a lot of things in work, man, but I appreciate it. And we will see you Thursday.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, sir.